And now welcome inside the Collins Arena as we get set for Jersey Blues basketball here on Brookdale TV. Brian Goudsward, Tim Catalfamo here with you as the Jersey Blues get set to wrap up the regular season today against Passaic. And for the women's team, it's been a great season. They've been the number one team pretty much from the get-go this year. And next stop will be the region tournament, which will be right here at home. But first order of business, Tim, is the game today, and it's a marquee matchup with number 1 Brookdale and number 3 Passaic.
Yeah, it's a battle within the Region 19 conference, basically, Brian. Both of these two teams right in the top of the standings. For Passaic, it's a crucial game because they want to try to build some momentum going into that tournament. We know that both of these teams will be here. They may even be playing each other for all that we know as far as the seeding is concerned in that Region 19 tournament. Brookdale's already gotten a bye to play in the semis. They won't have to play in the quarterfinal round, so it's a crucial game for both ball clubs. And I think in this case, they also have, coming off of a win, both teams won against Middlesex just a few nights ago. So they both have a common opponent. They're both coming in to play each other. For Passaic, they're just trying to continue the stretch that they've been on. They've won 17 games this year. For Brookdale, you see Haley DeLonzo and Danielle Griffith, who will be back in the starting rotations again this afternoon. Two players that were injured the last couple of weeks. They're back on the floor again today. So this should be a very interesting matchup. I expect this to be a lot of hot and fast action throughout the night.
And so the starting lineups being introduced as we speak. And there you get a look at the Passaic huddle there in their starting lineup this afternoon. It'll be Brianna Ramos-Henkel, Kathy Davis, Zeniya Thomas, Jada Camacho, and Olivia Moses. And the Brookdale lineup, just to give you their 5, it is Rachel Rouse, Danielle Griffith, Haley DeLonzo, a welcoming sight to get her back in the lineup, with Anna Catanzaro and Deja Anderson. DeLonzo, who missed the last 2 games with that ankle injury, but she is pronounced good to go and ready for action here in the final game of the regular season.
And this is going to be a fast-paced game. Passaic likes to run the ball. They like to push the tempo. So Coach Brunson, I spoke to him before the game. He's going to try to pressure Passaic early on to limit the amount of tempo that they can bring when they have the ball on offense. So should be interesting to see how that works out.
And the officials today, Zaire Newton, Sel Lee, and Harvey Dock, as we're ready for the opening tip. And underway at the Collins Arena, the Passaic Panthers have controlled it. Here is Olivia Moses dribbling, top of the key. And a jumper on the way, rimming no. The try from Camacho, and coming down with it is Anderson. Leads Griffith, who wasn't expecting it. And it's a Brookdale turnover. Griffith just a half step behind that pass, and Passaic will have it.
And this is the first time that we've, I think, seen Deja Anderson, as far as I'm aware of, in the starting rotation, Brian. So she's getting an early start. She really has improved significantly over the last couple of games. She's coming off of one of her best performances against Middlesex, where she had a career high in 20 points. So expect to see her early on in this offense when Brookdale has the ball to perform well.
Here's Deja Anderson with a pull-up in the paint that misses. And the rebound taken by Moses, and then there's a whistle. Passaic overall at 17-3 on the year. That places them 3rd best in the Region 19. 2 of the top 4 teams in the standings meet here this afternoon, as inside the miss by Camacho, and it'll go to the Jersey Blues.
And this is a team in Passaic that doesn't have as much size as Brookdale does down in the post area, but what they lack inside, they make up for in speed.
DeLonzo able to corral it. Cross court for Rouse. Rouse tries a 3. It doesn't go. And it's rebounded by Camacho. Here comes Passaic with Moses. And now the shot inside misses by Ramos-Henkel, loose underneath, and it'll go in Brookdale's favor.
Both teams have gotten good looks, just haven't been able to knock down their shots. Kind of a quiet way to start this game as you look at that battle on the floor there. Brookdale and Passaic are getting after all those loose balls, but they just haven't quite been able to make their shots, which is a surprise. We know how well both of these two teams can shoot.
Dion Griffith has checked in for the Jersey Blues. Here's Delonzo, unable to hit, and it's rebounded by Davis. Kathy Davis all the way, gives it up, and the shot by Thomas was well contested. And now it trickles back near midcourt, almost to backcourt, and they didn't get away with it. Backcourt violation, Panthers.
And Coach Eaton is upset, and there probably should have been a foul. Look at this down on the post. Anderson slams into Thomas there on the left low post. That probably should have been a foul on Brookdale, and probably would have had Thomas go to the foul line, but no call.
Feed it down low for Griffith. Catanzaro tries from the outside. Can't connect, and it's rebounded by Davis. Kathy Davis fouled there. Anderson reaching in. And that's the first infraction of the afternoon. So Anderson will pick it up. Passaic will have it underneath. Rachel Rouse is returning. That was a very brief rest as Anderson hits the bench. Inbounder Camacho. Out top for Thomas. Davis stripped of the ball and taken by Delonzo. Has Rouse with her. Rouse takes the pass. Shot misses off the glass. And back the other way, Moses. Up the floor, Camacho lays it up and in. And finally, we get our first points of the game.
And already you're seeing this back and forth game. We knew that Passaic was going to try to push the tempo, but I think Brookdale's trying to match that tempo, and so far they just haven't been able to convert.
Rouse is open for three. No good. And it's rebounded by Camacho. Lead Moses up the floor. Rouse, good defense, and knocks it off Moses' last touch. Brookdale will have it.
Yeah, I think Rouse actually got lucky there because Moses kind of bobbled that catch. She had an extra step on Rachel Rouse, and that was going to be an easy layup, but she kind of bobbled the catch, lost the ball. Brookdale got very lucky there on that transition.
Brookdale still looking for their first points. It's been a sluggish start here in this early start time on a Saturday. Delonzo finds Griffith, and she lays it in. Beautiful setup.
And a nice find there by Griffith. Nobody downstairs for Passaic on the low block area. And finally, Brookdale's able to get on the board.
Tied up at 2. We played about 3.5 minutes. Thomas down low for Davis. And she loses it. Rouse scoops it up, and then it's taken back by Thomas. Moses tries a 3. Off the mark. Offensive rebound. Camacho is stripped by Delonzo. Good defensive play, and the Panthers will inbound it underneath.
Yeah, I mean, there's been good looks by both teams. Good defense, I think, has prevailed on both sides of the ball, but there's been good looks. Just both teams just can't seem to convert inside.
Thomas unable to convert with the bank shot. Delonzo comes the other way. Delonzo floats it up off the glass, no. And it's taken by Davis. Davis bounce pass, loose underneath. Davis comes up with it, and she'll shoot free throws. It'll be Brookdale's second team foul of the opening quarter.
And Davis got lucky there because as she was coming down the floor, she kind of gave a very weak pass over to one of her teammates. I believe that was Camacho, who she was trying to find in stride, and she was lucky that she was able to get the ball back. Now she's at the line.
Davis, a 70% free throw shooter. The sophomore from Patterson. Many of these Passaic Panthers come from Patterson, where Passaic plays its home games up in northern Jersey. Pair of free throws good for Davis. It's a 2-point lead for the Panthers. Poplawski catches and can't lay it in. Rebound Camacho, and then a foul. That just looks like a frustration foul on Poplawski.
Yeah, and that just adds insult to injury. It's so tough to make those layups, especially when you're going at the basket straight on. And you saw Poplawski realize that, tried to get off to the side so she could try to bank the shot off of the glass, but she was already too far under to have that happen. So it's tough when you're coming down the floor trying to make a layup going straight on at the bucket.
Thomas strokes it for three, and Poplawski the rebound. Anderson looking to push. Anderson for Rouse, open for three, in and out, offensive rebound, putback is good. That was too easy for Griffith.
Yeah, it was too easy. There was just nobody boxing out down there for Passaic.
Low scoring first quarter. Each team has mustered only 4 points. Driving in is Thomas, and it was deflected out off Brookdale.
Coach Brunson arguing that Passaic last touched the ball, and I think he may have a point there. I don't know if Deon Griffith ever touched that basketball. I think just Thomas lost it out of bounds.
Moses, defended by Anderson. To the corner. Jumper on the way, it's no good. That was Ramos' Hankel. And here come the Jersey Blues, led by Anderson. Rouse tries another three. She's been off to start. It's rebounded by Thomas.
Brookdale's got to get back on defense here.
Thomas on a pull-up, short, and Anderson takes the rebound. Brookdale looking to push this way. Anderson tries a pull-up jumper. That's an air ball. And Brookdale is just out of sync offensively here in the first.
Yeah, both teams just can't make a bucket to save their life right now, which is surprising because you look at the amount of points that both of these two teams put up on average. It's in the mid-70s, so I'm surprised that we've seen such a low-scoring affair in this first quarter.
6 minutes gone by, and we're tied at 4. Ball movement, and inside for Davis, came up short. It was well contested down low. And did they get a foul? Nope, it's just going to be an inbound situation for the Panthers.
You saw Brookdale go to a 2-3 zone. They're back in a 2-3 zone again. Let's see if that affects the Panthers on offense.
Ramos Hankel misfires, and it's knocked out back to the Jersey Blues. Well, you mentioned it being unusual to see these two teams struggle offensively. Passaic, in particular, is one of the better teams offensively. They average just under 82 points a game, shoot very well from the floor, just under 50%, but thus far, it just has not been happening, as Anderson couldn't save it, and that's a turnover.
Yeah, there was some contact. Anderson wanted a foul. I don't think she's going to get that call, but you're right, Brian, and I'm surprised on the Passaic side because this is, I think, the best team in the Region 19 Conference as far as points are concerned, putting them on the board even better than Brookdale, which is #1 in the standings. So for both of these two teams to be struggling right now, I think is catching a lot of people off guard.
The drive inside by Thomas, shot misses, loose underneath the basket, and the Jersey Blues will take over.
And it's not like they're bad shots. These are high percentage shots that both teams are taking chances with, and they're just not falling for whatever reason. Maybe it's the early start time, I don't know, but just both teams just look out of sync.
That's a travel on Rouse, as Brookdale tried to advance it across the mid-court stripe. Delonzo comes back in, and maybe that'll give Brookdale a spark offensively, which they are in bad need of. 3 minutes to go in the first. And now Poplawski a steal. She throws it way ahead for Delonzo. The catch swatted by Thomas. Oh, what transition defense that was.
And despite the turnover, you saw how quickly Passaic was able to transition and get back on defense. That's how quick they are. I talked about at the beginning of the game, they don't have the size down low in the post area, but they have quickness.
Poplawski able to save it, back out for Anderson. Anderson jumper on the way, doesn't go, and Davis has the rebound. Kathy Davis, and that's a foul. Anderson will get called for it, defending against Moses. She'll go to the line.
And for Anderson, that's her second personal foul, so not necessarily the way that you want to start the first quarter, because now she's most likely going to have to come out of the game. We talked about how she worked her way into the starting lineup. She's a big player that usually can score a lot of points, just hasn't happened because nobody's scoring a whole lot of points early on in this game.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it from the Brookdale perspective. As poorly as they've played, you'd think they'd be getting blown out already, but Passaic hasn't done anything in their own right. So as a result, we have a 6-4 game with 2.5 minutes to play in the first. Presses on, Brookdale defeats it. Griffith's pass is knocked away, and Catanzaro is on the end line out of bounds.
And we've seen both teams kind of at different times go to a full court press to try to change things up and possibly cause a turnover. Passaic has come right out in this ball game and has gone full court press, and Brookdale has had difficulty trying to break that press and then set up in their offense when they get the ball across midcourt.
It's somewhat surprising that neither team has called a timeout. You would think one of these coaches would just try to settle things down here, but letting them play. Here is Camacho, not even close. That shot just hit the top of the glass. Shot clock didn't reset. The officials don't know it. And they're going to have to blow the whistle because it's at 2. That's an error. Shot clock never reset and nobody knew it on the court. And now the official goes over to the scores table. There's no way Passaic should have the ball right now.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're trying to work out on the...
I just noticed it as the possession started. It was at 10 seconds.
Well, you're correct. I mean, they did not reset the shot clock, but that's what Coach Brunson's saying, that Brookdale should at least have the ball with, I'd say, 20 seconds at least on the shot clock.
There's Rich Brunson, whose team enjoying a terrific season. I mean, the record 22-3. It's the best season they've had under Coach Brunson. And no other team in the region has even 20 wins. So that just shows you how much better Brookdale has been than their competition in the region this year.
Yeah, they really have been unstoppable. They've played very well. We talked about how they've clinched the top spot in the Region 19 conference. They are definitely the favorite, but they're going up against a team in Passaic that is no slouch themselves. I mean, they are a good ball club, so this is going to be a very good test for, I think, Coach Brunson's team. They're getting their players back that they had that were injured the last couple of weeks, in Haley DeLonzo and Danielle Griffiths. So Brookdale's, I think, finally back to basics, having their entire roster on the floor.
Meanwhile, the officials are still trying to sort out this shot clock situation. If they get it right, Brookdale should have the ball. I think what they're probably determining is how many seconds to put on the shot clock, and that's kind of difficult to figure out. But in the meantime, both teams just standing and waiting. Rich Brunson's getting an explanation.
Yeah, I know the officials are trying to figure things out, and I certainly wouldn't want to be in their shoes as you get a good look at Coach Eaton there. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, but I really don't understand what the issue is. Brookdale obviously has the ball. What I would do is I would just do a shot clock reset, not give them a full 30-second shot clock, but now they're going to give the ball to Passaic, so I have no idea. I have no clue what went on down there.
Yeah, I think this is not the right call, but nonetheless, Passaic will take it. Wow. Outside the stoppage, they work with a 2-point lead. Both teams have had mighty struggles offensively. Here's Thomas on a 3, and it's good. Zeniya Thomas connecting from long range. Now the first 3-point basket of the game so far. Catanzaro comes up with air. It's snatched by Moses.
Yeah, Brookdale's trying to play fast on offense. That's just not their style, and you saw that with a rush shot there from Catanzaro.
And a rushed pass by Camacho as she threw it to nobody, and Brookdale will take over. Jersey Blues have Anderson, Rouse, Griffith, DeLonzo, and Catanzaro, the 5 on the floor. Only 4 points on the board for a team that's number 1 in the region standings. Rouse swings it. DeLonzo triggers a 3 off the back rim, and the rebound Camacho.
Yeah, Brookdale's really not getting any penetration going inside. Good defense there by Passaic.
Moses is open. That doesn't go for 3. The offensive rebound, though, by Ramos Henkel. And now Thomas on a second chance. Thomas stripped of the ball. Lead Delonzo up the floor. She will go in for the layup.
And I think it's a testament to how good both defenses are, because the majority of the points in this first quarter, Brian, have been on fast break opportunities. We really haven't seen anybody, for the most part, take a shot and knock it down early or deep in the shot clock. It's been on these fast break opportunities going the other way.
Shot clock and game clock nearly identical. About a 1 second difference. Thomas for three. Way off. Rebound. Moses back up again. It doesn't fall. And Anderson the rebound. Final 5 seconds of the first with the shot clock turned off. Ravs has to put it up. And Brookdale didn't get a shot away. And that's how the opening quarter comes to a close. Only 15 combined points. 6 of them scored by Brookdale. As we'll take a second look here at probably the one highlight Brookdale had, as that steal led to a Delonzo transition basket. After one, the score 9-6. Passaic in front. We'll come back for the second quarter after this.
Is what success looks like, and here is where it all starts. This is Brookdale, college redefined, success reimagined. Take your next step at brookdalecc.edu.
My name is Teya Gatlin, and I'm from Paterson, New Jersey, and I play forward on the Brookdale men's basketball team. I chose Brookdale as a school to attend to because I love the facility and I love the school, and it also carries my major, which is criminal justice.
Hi, and welcome to the Fall Term Event Celebration. I'm Lauren Conkar for Brookdale TV. We're here at the Bankier Library, where students are gathered for games, prizes, free smoothies, food, and more. Let's take a look and see what's going on.
Celebration is so important to the students here at Brookdale because for many of them it's their first experience in an academic library.
It's awesome because we are not only about studying, we can come here and relax a little, like chill.
Back inside the Collins Arena, Brian Goudsward, Tim Catalfamo, the rest of our Brookdale TV crew with you this afternoon. And a reminder that Jersey Blues basketball is brought to you by Joyce's Subs and Pizza. They are located at 655 Newman Springs Road in Lincroft and available online at joycessubsandpizza.com. And Tim, as we get set to start this second quarter, the question is, how will the offense turn up here after we saw both teams struggle on the offensive end in that opening quarter?
Well, it's a very valid question, Brian, and I really don't know the answer to it. And we talked about in the first quarter, I think you made the point, why haven't there been any timeouts to try to reset things? I think it's simply because both coaches really aren't sure what to say. Both teams have had plenty of good high percentage shots. They just have not gone in. Certainly you can look at the type of defenses that both teams have presented and the turnovers that have been caused, but just for whatever reason, these shots are just not falling.
Anderson, extra pass. Delonzo can't hit the three. Raz has the offensive rebound. Reset of the shot clock. Anderson is fouled on a reach-in by Thomas. And so 18 seconds into the second quarter, the Panthers pick up their first.
I think that's going to be the key. You talk about what both these two teams have to do, Brian, in the second quarter. I think for Brookdale, the key is going to be getting that ball inside and getting to the foul line. They're not a perimeter shooting team. They've got to get that ball inside the paint somehow.
Anderson fouled. And Thomas looks back to question the call, but she picks up a quick two personals.
I was just going to say, those are quick two personal fouls on Zeniya Thomas. So Anderson's got two personal fouls. She's still playing on the floor for Brookdale. Thomas remains on the court for Passaic, so both coaches not taking each of those players out.
Griffith's pass is intercepted. An easy steal for Thomas. All the way to the basket. High off the glass. It gets the roll. That was nifty.
And again, another bucket in transition. That's really been the storyline in this game.
5-point deficit. Raz regains control. And it's off Raz. Looked like she tried to throw it off Kathy Davis, but to no avail. As Brookdale's going to make a substitution, it's Poplawski for Danielle Griffith.
So far, I have to give credit to Passaic. Their defense has been pretty stout. Even though they haven't gotten their shots to fall on offense, they've done a good job in transition at making those opportunities count.
Thomas for three. And Catanzaro the rebound. Here comes Anderson leading the charge with a jumper. And Brookdale has just not had the touch from anywhere on the court. Here's Davis. Floater way off. And an offensive foul, it looks like. So team foul number 3. You hear Teya Eaton, head coach of the Panthers, disagrees with the call, but it's Davis's first.
Davis just a little bit out of control going down the other end of the floor. Smart play by Anderson to not move, and unfortunately now she turns the ball over, gives it right back to Passaic. But on the last play, nice smart move by Anderson to not move her feet, just stay steady. She wasn't going to make a play on the ball anyway, and she gets the offensive foul to go Brookdale's way.
You know, it's been 11 days since Brookdale last played a game, which was here at home against Middlesex, and they just frankly look like they haven't played in a while.
And that's a very valid point. I mean, they have not played in a very long time, so that could be an issue for Passaic. They've just played 2 nights ago against Middlesex, so they're sharp, they're ready to go, but Brookdale definitely looks very sluggish. And exactly, Brian, like they haven't played in a few days where they're just not quite on the same page.
Delonzo can't hit the 3. Rebound Camacho. Bounce it for Thomas. Her shot misses. Delonzo tips it, and Davis's shot doesn't find the basket, and the Jersey Blues will have it.
I tell you what, I cannot believe how many shots inside. As you see Poplawski there ripping away that rebound, I cannot believe how many shots inside have been missed by both teams, especially on the Passaic side. Passaic's got to be kicking themselves knowing that they potentially could be up by 20 points right now with how many good looks they've had. They just can't seem to get anything to drop inside the post.
Delonzo. Poplawski sets the screen with the shot clock at 10. Outside for Anderson. Catch and shoot. Hits the 3. Oh, did Brookdale need that? Deja Anderson bullseye from long range.
And we knew eventually those shots were going to go down, but you said it, Brian, definitely a much-needed basket.
11-9. The Panthers with a 2-point lead. Setting up the offense, Moses. Thomas has 2 defenders. Moses straight away. Too strong, and Delonzo the rebound. Throw it ahead for Rouse. And Poplawski loses it at midcourt, and looked like maybe some fisticuffs.
Yeah, Poplawski just had a 2-hand check, and she threw basically Hankel way out of the way to try to get that loose ball. I'm not sure what that was all about, but that's a little uncalled for.
You don't want to mess with Poplawski.
Well, we know that she's an aggressive player, but that's now her 2nd personal foul. You just have got to be a little smarter than that. I know you're frustrated that you had a turnover, but you can't just take your both hands and just shove the other defensive player out of the way.
Delonzo the steal, and then a foul as Davis stopped the fast break opportunity. Probably a good foul if there is one. Davis picks up her 2nd. It's the team's 4th.
Passaic's got to be careful now because they have Thomas that's got 2 personal fouls, and now Davis that's got 2 as well. You mentioned it's the 14th foul on the Panthers. That's one area that I'm seeing early on Passaic could run into trouble later on in the game. It's a timeout by Coach Brunson, which I think is a smart timeout because Brookdale wasn't really even set on that offensive possession.
So 6:37 remaining. It'll be a 30-second timeout. Brookdale finally something to feel good about themselves with that Anderson 3 a couple moments ago. Still, though, they have yet to reach double figures on the scoreboard. But on the Passaic side, not too much better offensively, and we've been locked in this defensive struggle. First game of our Brookdale TV doubleheader this afternoon. Men's game will come up about a half an hour after the conclusion of this one. We've seen Paul Chizek is in the building. He's ready.
He made his presence known, let's just put it that way.
Brookdale ball outside the timeout. Delonzo to inbound it.
I'd like to see someone come out and set a pick for Anderson or somebody to try to get a drive inside.
Last touch out of bounds, Passaic.
because we've seen Passaic really kind of stay home. I think they're now going to go to a 2-3 zone defense. At least that's what it appears to be. They're trying to force Brookdale outside, and they've done a good job of that.
That's Catanzaro from Delonzo. The dish on the inbounds produces a 2-pointer to tie it at 11. And now Passaic and head coach Teya Eaton are going to take a timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout, too. I thought it might be a full timeout, and we're tied up at 11.
Yeah, I think Brookdale slowly is starting to settle in. I wouldn't say that they've quite found their rhythm. To be fair, Passaic is also struggling on the offensive end. They've had plenty of high-quality shots. We've talked about them inside that just haven't been able to go in. But I think finally Brookdale is starting to shake some of that rust off. We mentioned that they haven't played in nearly 2 weeks. The last time they played was against Middlesex, and to be honest, Brian, that wasn't one of their best performances. I know that they were missing Haley Delonzo and Danielle Griffith, but it wasn't one of their best performances. So it's been a while since they've had a full roster with Delonzo and Griffith on the floor playing a full game. So I think it's just taking some time for Brookdale to get back acclimated to game speed.
Thomas gets it to go. Well, that was Camacho. Check that on the inside to put the Panthers back on top.
Yeah, good position. Poplawski was a little out of shape, and a nice finish.
Delonzo. That's kicked out of bounds. Brookdale retains it. Delonzo for Anderson. 3 on the way. And a rebound to Davis. Camacho. Rimming no, and Poplawski takes the rebound. Contested there by Camacho. And Anderson across the midcourt line.
And a good box out that time by Poplawski.
Rachel Rouse has it stripped and stolen. It's Camacho leading the break and finishes it off with the layup.
And we talked about, I feel like I've said this about 4 or 5 times already, Brian, transition buckets have been Passaic's bread and butter in this game. That is how they've been able to match Brookdale's defense, and Brookdale, just for whatever reason, is having difficulty getting back on defense when they have a turnover or they have a missed shot.
Delonzo has it taken away. This time it's Moses. Moses with Thomas, back for Moses, and the easy 2.
And a beautiful play there by Moses to get it back over to her teammate. Or a better play made by Thomas to get it over to Moses. Give and go. When you have a 2-on-1 situation, sometimes you can hesitate, but that was handled beautifully that time by Passaic.
17-11 as Passaic has gone on a 6-0 run. Rouse can't hit the 3. Offensive rebound, Griffith. Reset of the shot clock. Anderson, that's way off the mark. Moses the rebound. Here comes Moses, working on Delonzo. Back out to the perimeter. Davis sees Delonzo go by. Moses puts it home. This has just not been pretty for Rich Brunson, who is going to take a timeout.
Yeah, Brookdale just doesn't look focused right now. Smart timeout there by Brunson.
This will be a full timeout. We'll take a break here with 4:18 remaining until the halftime break, and Passaic has opened up an 8-point lead.
A little. It's awesome to just share with friends and classmates.
I was looking through the events that Brookdale provided for us. It's pretty cool so far. I chose Brookdale because it gave me a lot of opportunities to see what I really want to do in life.
What we have going on in the library here is students can come here to work on a computer, get their email done, write a paper, get some quiet study time. If they need assistance from people, we have librarians here for their research help. We have the tutors for help with various coursework. We have our library staff that can point you into the right direction for our resources. Anything under the sun that's going to help you study, it's going to be here in the library.
It was very fun. A lot of great things. Food's good. Games were fun. Met some new people.
The library is really good because they have tutors here always to help you and various amount of resources.
Brookdale is now in an 8-point hole as Passaic has gone on an 8-0 run since the prior timeout and had their largest lead thus far. Brookdale looking for answers. They got the press to deal with, but able to get it across. Griffith underneath the basket. puts it up and in off the window.
And a much-needed basket there, and an even better play by Danielle Griffith, showing a little bit of energy out of that timeout, but a nice find there by Catanzaro inside. I really do believe that Brookdale's just going to have to get more passes inside of the paint area, because that's where Passaic is a little bit weak. They don't have as much size as Brookdale. That's where Brookdale's got to go.
Thomas, no shot, and they call it travel. So it'll be Brookdale basketball. Trying to change the momentum here in the final minutes of the first half. Rouse sets up the offense. Griffith loses it. Moses all the way, and she's fouled. Olivia Moses to the line.
How about Moses just literally ripping the ball out of Danielle Griffith, who went to put the ball up to her head and just had it taken away.
I'll tell you, that's about a half dozen times at least that Brookdale has just gotten stripped of the ball like that. It's led to transition opportunities for the Panthers. Moses, a 70% free throw shooter, a sophomore out of Patterson. Second attempt, way short, but Camacho puts it back up and in. Nobody blocked her out, and she takes advantage. Lead back to 8 for the Panthers. That's a turnover. Rouse pass too tall for Poplawski.
Yeah, this full court press is just giving Brookdale a lot of difficulty. They're not really being able to set up in their usual offensive set. And what Brookdale's trying to do is they're trying to beat the press, so they're going up tempo, but they're making really poor judgments. They're throwing the ball way too hard. They're not passing very effectively. They're trying to push things, and they're just creating turnovers, which is what Passaic wants, but they're just not handling this full court press, which the Panthers, to their credit, have stayed in from the beginning of the game. They have not faltered in that full court press. It's led to plenty of turnovers, and if you're Passaic, you love it because you're up by 8 points right now.
And they're back with it here. And Rouse is called for steps. The turnover problems continue. It's a Brookdale team that averages 18 of them per game as Deja Anderson checks in for Rouse. By contrast, Passaic, they do a great job of not only taking it away, but taking care of the ball, only averaging about 10 turnovers a game as a team. Under 3 minutes to go now in the half. Lou Russo is checked in for Passaic. She has it here. Pass is stolen by Griffith. Griffith has her sister with her, and she'll take it herself. Offensive rebound. Griffith back up. It doesn't go. This will be a jump ball, the first of the game, and the possession arrow says Panther basketball.
And Brookdale, they have flashes of brilliance, but then they shoot themselves in the foot. That time, Dion Griffith and Danielle Griffith both coming down the same side of the floor. Sometimes if you're Dion Griffith, I know it's hard to think of in the heat of the moment, but when you have a teammate on the other side of the court, give it to her, and then maybe she can give it back to you. Try to set the defense up to think one thing and then give it to another player so that they're out of sync. Try to change things up a little bit. These are some of the things that we don't necessarily expect to see from Brookdale, but so far in this game, they have made a lot of mistakes.
Camacho comes up short. Shot clock was winding down. Thomas the offensive rebound. Russo for 3. No good. Catanzaro going for the rebound, but couldn't scoop it up cleanly, and the Panthers will have yet another opportunity. Camacho triggers it in. Russo can't get to it.
I know that Passaic has executed well on offense, and they're leading by 8 points, but I don't think Coach Eaton is too happy with the way they've performed either in the first half. They have made plenty of mistakes themselves, and that's just a classic example. You got to make that catch. Someone's got to be on the same page.
Griffith can hit. Poplawski fouled. She got the offensive rebound and now to the line for the first time. Team foul number 5 against the Panthers. So Poplawski, 56% free throw shooter. And it's interesting when you look at the Brookdale team as a whole, they only have 2 freshmen on this roster. So you look at Poplawski, and she's one of the couple players who could return next season.
Yeah, and she's looking to develop. Coach Brunson has talked about in the past how he's trying to work with both Jessica Poplawski and Anna Catanzaro downstairs to get them more acclimated back up to game speed. And for Poplawski, it's been a rough week. She had the flu. She's been out the last couple days, so she's really kind of just trying to get back on track. But the entire team, as that's going to, I think, be a lane violation if I'm not mistaken, but just the entire team has just not been in sync to start this game.
So Poplawski missed both, but now gets one more attempt. The freshman from Toms River, New Jersey, and she gets that one to go. 21-14. Passaic has led most of the way in a game that hasn't had a lot of rhythm. Double team in the corner, up in the air, up for grabs, and taken away by Anderson. Anderson backs up with it.
And that was smart. Anderson didn't have the numbers. I thought she was going to keep it herself. Smart to try to back it out and set up the offense.
Poplawski high post. Catanzaro doesn't get the roll. She's got it back. Shot clock resets. We approach 1 minute to go in the second quarter.
And there's no need to hurry here if you're Brookdale. You just want to run your offense. Don't let Passaic intimidate you into hurrying up.
Catanzaro for Griffith. 3 on the way short. Griffith the offensive rebound. And the rebound, Davis. Lou Russo misses off the glass. Thomas back up, there was contact. Davis tries, that's no good. And Dion Griffith collects it. Her pass for Danielle Griffith. Stripped and fouled, that's Camacho.
I tell you what, Brian, I think this is one of the more wild games that we have seen all season. Foul there in the backcourt going against Passaic to send Danielle Griffith to the line, because now that's way over the limit for Passaic. They are in the double bonus, but this is one of the more wild games I've seen in a very long time. Both teams just cannot make buckets inside the paint. It's just unbelievable how many shots have just not gone in. And it's not like these are bad teams as far as points are concerned. These are teams that can put up a lot of points in the first half. They just, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the issue is with both of these two teams.
Griffith misses at the line. Shot clock's now turned off. Kathy Davis for Thomas. Thomas backing in, blocked by Anderson. Thomas gets it back, but she's out of bounds. And now Brookdale can hold for a final shot attempt here in the first half.
Got to beat this full court press first.
Anderson dribbling through a couple defenders all the way and lays it in. Oh, what a move. 4 seconds left now in the half as Brookdale's now down by 4. Here's Davis, doesn't get it away. Getting set to start the second half here at the Collins Arena. Brian Coudsford, Tim Catalfamo back here with you, where the question is, where will the offense come for Brookdale, held to just 17 points? And I think Tim Haley DeLonzo is really the key. She's missed the last 2 games, and they need to get her back on track and scoring.
Well, they certainly need to get her on track, as you see Catanzaro with a nice bucket there. The answer, I think, the short answer to your question, Brian, is it's going to have to come inside. That's where Brookdale is going to have to go. They didn't really have a whole lot of penetration in the first half. I really do feel if they're going to beat Passaic, they're going to have to get the ball in the paint.
That's a travel on Zeniya Thomas. First possession of the second half for the Panthers, and it results in a turnover. Brookdale starts the half with Griffith, Anderson, Catanzaro, Rouse, and DeLonzo. It's Danielle Griffith of the 2 Griffith sisters, Brookdale's original starting 5. Anderson taking a lot of time, and then it's into the hands of Camacho. Bounce pass, Thomas couldn't find it, but it's deflected out off Rouse.
And we've seen this full court pressure give so many issues to the Brookdale offense. They just have not been able to really quite handle it. You saw Anderson there taking a lot of time to come up the floor. She had to get the ball across midcourt, so that's why that pass was a little hurried. But just the Jersey Blues have struggled, Brian, with this full court press.
And now Passaic struggling with turnovers, a couple of them to begin this third quarter. Brookdale down by 2. Team that hasn't played in 11 days, and that's longer than they typically go between games, and it's showing really all game. Thomas the steal.
Ooh.
Finds Davis, misses the floater, and Delonzo scoops up the rebound. Now she looks to run with it, and now backs off.
I think Anderson hit her head there. She's kind of a little bit slow coming down the other side of the floor. I'm not sure what happened, but she's obviously a little bit behind the plate.
Rouse misfired from 3. Anderson with Moses. And staying on this end.
You see Anderson ripping the ball away. I actually think that was a quick jump ball by the officials. I'm surprised they didn't let that play out because I don't think there was enough contact with both players holding the ball long enough to make it a jump call.
Here's Davis. Work it around. Inside, Moses can't convert. And then Catanzaro was fouled after the rebound.
And that time, good defense there by Brookdale. They were able to kind of remain in a 2-3 zone. Catanzaro downstairs squaring off against Moses. She kept her hands up, didn't really panic, and then she gets the rebound, and then Moses fouls her from behind. So let's see if Brookdale can kind of build a little bit off of that momentum.
Last touch Panthers. Brookdale to inbound underneath with Delonzo. Looking for the equalizer on this possession. Outside for Rouse. Delonzo for the lead. Catanzaro fields it, and she'll go to the line. Fouled by Ramos Hankel.
Yeah, Delonzo's just not feeling herself. Those are shots that normally Haley Delonzo makes no problem, but she's really kind of stuck from behind the perimeter for the majority of this game. She really hasn't gone inside very often, and I wonder if there's a reason why. Maybe she doesn't want to further aggravate that ankle injury that she's coming off of, or she just wants to try to play it safe. But her strength really is kind of driving the ball inside and taking those shots when they're open, not sticking to behind the perimeter. So I'm a little bit surprised by that, but I think it has something to do with that ankle injury.
Catanzaro 50%, and on cue makes 1 out of 2. 21-20, presses on. And the Panthers get it across with Moses. Thomas calling out a play. Gives up her dribble. Now Davis.
Shot clock winding down here for Passaic.
Down to 8, double team. Davis turning the corner. Pass tipped to the baseline. Hankel shot blocked by Delonzo.
I think Delonzo may have gotten away with a foul.
Brookdale gets set up. Looking for the lead on this possession. Catanzaro for Delonzo in the corner. Delonzo this time drives, kicks, Rouse for 3. Way off the mark, and the long rebound tracked down by Thomas. Zeniya Thomas all the way to the basket, fouled by Anderson.
Well, there's not a whole lot Anderson could do there. One-on-one, difficult to defend when you're trying to backpedal. The team's coming with the ball the other way. But on that last possession for Brookdale, good ball movement. Just, again, the shots just are not going in. Rachel Rouse, who's an excellent three-point shooter, just has not been able to find her stride this afternoon. So the ball movement is there, Brian. They just can't make the shots.
Thomas shoots it at 71%. Sophomore from Patterson. 6 of the 8 players on the Passaic roster hail from Patterson. Offensive rebound by Camacho, missed it on the inside. Davis, though, gets it to go.
Brookdale had bodies underneath the basket, but they didn't box out and then back the players up. Oftentimes we see people try to box out and just stay there, but boxing out is a lot more than just putting a body. You have to physically back the person out of the paint so you can grab the rebound.
Davis called for a double dribble. Brookdale claps their hands. They'll make a change here. Poplawski is in, and Danielle Griffith to the bench.
And you know what's funny, Brian? We talked about how we're surprised at how poorly both of these two teams are shooting, and we were talking about it off air during halftime. The last time these two teams played, Brookdale won 95-92. We're not even close to that margin, so just a complete shock, I think, to a lot of people how poorly both teams are shooting.
I don't know if it's the long layoff, if it's the early start time or what, but there's a basket. It comes courtesy of Poplawski.
And Poplawski's going to have to come up big inside. We finally saw a full possession where Brookdale was able to use the paint effectively to get a bucket.
And now Rouse gives her team possession, able to knock it off Camacho. Brookdale another chance to tie or take the lead with a three-pointer. I think the only three they made in this game came from Anderson back in the first quarter, the opening minutes of the game. Delonzo a fake. Now backing in. Shot blocked. There was some contact. Raz tries again. This one is way off again. Raz has just been not her night. Poplawski able to pick it back up. Find Raz underneath. Off the glass it goes. Finally, Raz gets one to drop.
And finally, a little bit of energy now from the Jersey Blues on these last couple of possessions.
Tied at 24. Under 6 minutes to go now in the third. Delonzo defending on Davis. Ramos Hankel stripped by Delonzo and picked up by Anderson.
There you go.
Anderson all the way and high off the glass. And did she hurt herself? She came up a little bit gimpy after that layup.
It was an awkward shot. I think she was expecting some contact that never came. Passaic kind of just let Anderson go. So I don't know if she pulled a muscle, but that was definitely an awkward shot.
Thomas for three. Doesn't go. Poplawski has the rebound. And Brookdale has the lead for the first time in some time. Looking to add to it. Catanzaro backing in, puts it up, and a rebound to Davis.
Catanzaro's got to set her feet.
Effie Davis is stopped on a foul by Anderson. It'll be Brookdale's second.
That's a big foul on Anderson because now that's her fourth, Brian.
So one away from fouling out. As a result, she heads out of the game. Alexis Espada in for the first time, and now it's Dion Griffith for Haley Delonzo. Passaic now trying to retie the score. Espada defending on Davis to the corner, and Russo stepped out of bounds.
And to start the second half, we've seen actually Passaic have a little bit of difficulty on the offensive end. Brookdale has changed up their defense a little bit, and Passaic is having difficulty because Brookdale has started to make their shots. They've gotten back on defense. Panthers can't push the ball as often.
Alexis Espada drains a long two-pointer. So Espada just into the game immediately makes her presence felt. And offensively, it's a welcoming sight inside Moses, and a beautiful dish from Davis. And we'll have a timeout. It's taken by Coach Teya Eaton and the Panthers. And as you see Espada, the jumper, suddenly the pace is picking up a little bit. I think these two teams have started to find some semblance of a rhythm offensively.
Well, we talked about how to start the second half, Passaic has had a little bit of difficulty working the ball around because they're not being able to push the ball up the floor in transition. We really honestly saw a lot of points from the Panthers in the first half in transition, running the ball up the floor on a fast break opportunity. We haven't seen the Panthers be able to do that because either Brookdale has made their shots or they've gotten back on defense. So I think that Brookdale made some nice adjustments during halftime. I think now Passaic with Coach Eaton is going to have to adjust in the middle of the third quarter here to prevent Brookdale from starting to hit their rhythm, because even though it's shaky and there still has been a lot of turnovers, Brookdale is starting to finally find their stride.
Yeah, they put up 11 points already in the third. That was their total of the second quarter after opening the game with just 6 points. And they're slowly starting to find themselves, now operating with a 2-point lead.
And if you
4 minutes to go, third quarter. Poplawski, a lot of contact as hitting the deck hard was Davis. But the foul is on the Panthers, and Poplawski readies to shoot.
And just to add to that point, I didn't mean to interrupt you a second ago, but an 11-5 run since halftime for Brookdale.
Oh, Poplawski. She's got quite a ritual at the free throw line before she doesn't get the roll on the first one. I've always been interested in free throw rituals. Some guys really take their time.
Well, it's all about rhythm, and it's one of the more difficult shots to make. A lot of people think that a free throw is really easy. It's all rhythm, and if you're not quite in sync, you're going to miss it every time. So it's a very rhythmic shot where you have to be in sync. You have to come up at the same time. You have to release the ball right at the right time in order to have that shot go in.
Thomas into the lane with a floater that goes down. That is tough to stop. Zeniya Thomas, who's the leading scorer for the Panthers, she averages just over 25 a game, and she has skills. A spot up for three, doesn't go. Long rebound, Thomas looking to run with it. Rouse is back, Thomas all the way, and fouled by Rouse.
Both teams, the fouls are starting to add up quickly. We'll check the number on Rouse, but Brookdale's got to be careful here, along with Passaic, that they don't make fouls the main storyline in this second half. We talked about Teya Anderson on the Brookdale side. She's got 4 personal fouls, so you have to be careful that you don't get yourself in a position, especially on some of these fast break opportunities, where you start fouling left and right.
Thomas, one more coming. Delonzo set to check in next. And 2 out of 2. Here's Delonzo now for Espada. Press is on for the Panthers. Catanzaro, though, easily across. Here's Rouse. Rouse a little intimidated there by Thomas.
Nice defense there by Thomas.
And it forces a turnover, but off of Davis. Now, Brookdale may have caught a break there as they had just given it away, but will have another possession. The Brookdale 5 is Dion Griffith, Rouse, Delonzo, Poplawski, and Catanzaro. They're down by 1.
Gotta get the ball in.
In for Delonzo for the easy layup. She just found the space, the void in the Passaic defense, and takes advantage. Brookdale up 31-30. Down low and a reach-in call. Poplawski was in the area as the entry pass came into Moses. That's her third.
We're seeing a lot more fouls here in the second half, Brian. We saw in the first there was some questionable calls that weren't called by the officials. Now everything's being called, so that's definitely going to change things a little bit.
Moses gets the putback off the Camacho initial miss. Seesaw affair brewing here in the third quarter. Here's Delonzo weaving through. Griffith outside jumper doesn't go, and it's rebounded by Davis. Kathy Davis. Poplawski, there was contact, no call, and Davis backs up with it. Cross-court pass, hops into the bench. I should say the bleachers, and it's a Panther turnover.
And just good defense there by Poplawski, going straight up, not moving. You probably could have called a foul either way. I like on that particular incident where the officials didn't call anything. I think that was the right no call. Just see a turnover here.
And Russo missed the layup. She's frustrated with herself. Delonzo for Griffith. Griffith to the basket, layup doesn't go, but she's fouled. Danielle Griffith to the free throw line.
I think we've gotten to the point where finally the frustration of not being able to get the buckets to drop on both sides of the ball is starting to get to each team, because now we're seeing a lot more intensity that we didn't see in the first half, a lot more diving for loose balls, a lot more contact, a lot more intensity, aggressiveness. So it's definitely picking up, and I just think it has to do with both these teams know that they're shooting poorly, and they just can't seem to do anything about it.
Griffith splits a pair from the line. We're tied at 32. Pass tipped and picked off by Rouse. Rouse on a bounce for Griffith, but it wasn't a good one, and it's picked up by Thomas, and then she's fouled in the backcourt by Dion Griffith. Brookdale will pick up team foul number 5. And that, for Dion Griffith, is number 4. That earns her a spot on the bench, and Poplawski is the replacement. Meanwhile, for Thomas, it's a free throw opportunity. First attempt. No good.
And we talked about Thomas as being such a dynamic player, Brian. She usually shoots around 50% from the floor. Obviously, nowhere near close to that number this afternoon, but she had 44 points against Atlantic Cape, a season high just a few weeks ago. So she's a dynamic player, but she really hasn't been able to use her effectiveness against Brookdale's defense.
Griffith lays it in, and credit DeLonzo for the assist. Well, DeLonzo hasn't been scoring much, but she's still setting up her teammates, and the last one puts Brookdale back in front by a point. Thomas directing traffic.
Good
Ball
defense.
movement. Thomas lost it. Shot clock's at 6. And that's a double dribble. It'll be a Panther turnover.
Yeah, 2-3 zone has given Passaic a lot of issues. I'm kind of surprised because they're usually a team that likes to go inside. That's how you beat a 2-3 zone, but Brookdale, ever since they've gone to that to start the opening half, or start the second half, I should say, Passaic's had difficulty.
Poplawski unable to convert. Poplawski at midcourt is called for a foul, and she cannot believe it. She heads right over to the official on the far side, and she's in foul trouble. That's number 4 of the game. It's another free throw opportunity here for Thomas.
Watch this again. Trying to look at that last foul.
Thomas, first attempt, good. And 2 out of 2 for the sophomore. Meanwhile, Passaic will have another possession. Catanzaro heads for the bench. Replaced by Espada. Inbounded for Thomas, bumped by Rouse. Out on the perimeter. Thomas into the paint with a shot. Too strong, and Rouse elevates for the rebound. Under a minute to go now and ticking. Third quarter of play. It's been kind of a strange game all in all, and I mean, that kind of shows you why, as Espada's shot just goes over the backboard.
It's just been one of those ugly games in a sense that no one really has been able to develop any rhythm. We saw a little bit of that to start the third, but we're back to just having teams just struggle to get any decent shots.
Inside for Moses, and it's last touched by the Panthers. About a 4-second difference shot in game clock. Passaic showing some heavy press. They got all 5 in the backcourt. Good denial, in for DeLonzo. And now the Panthers back off as DeLonzo crosses. Griffith cutting his Espada and lays it in. Great pass from Griffith. Espada has been one of Brookdale's leading scorers by scoring 4 points. Down low with Moses, turnaround shot, no, and it's rebounded by DeLonzo with 1 second, and the horn sounds. Well, the action picked up in the third quarter. It was Brookdale's best offensively by a long shot, and now as we head for the fourth, it's the Jersey Blues with a 1-point lead, 36-35. We'll come back after this here on Brookdale TV.
Asbury Park School District at 732-776-2606, extension 2975.
Vernikov, and I'm part of the Student Life Board. And this year we're having our Welcome Back Week and Involvement Fair. So basically what that is that we're getting students who are returning students and new students to come in and experience what Brookdale has to offer, which is a dozen different new clubs, different people where you can meet new people, make new friends, and definitely make different connections with different people, and kind of just get involved like what we have here with different music going on, with different activities going on, with even like the fried Oreos and the funnel cake, just to get involved, have like, a good start to the year. And it's really great to always get involved, because when I came to Brookdale and as soon as I got involved with student life, I absolutely loved that I made different connections with people, I made new friends, and so many different memories that I'd love to look back on as soon as I graduate from Brookdale.
Start of the fourth quarter here on Brookdale TV, where Jersey Blues basketball is brought to you by Joyce's Subs and Pizza. They're located at 655 Newman Springs Road in Lincroft and available online at joycesubsandpizza.com. Jersey Blues by 1. Fourth quarter underway. They start it with Delonzo, Rouse, the two Griffiths, and Catanzaro. Until a much better third quarter after struggling offensively for much of the game. Griffith misfires. It's rebounded by Moses. Kathy Davis all the way. Layup misses. Offensive rebound. Moses is fouled. And boy, I thought Davis may have gotten away with a walk on that drive. But it's free throws for Moses. Brookdale's first of the fourth quarter is on Rouse.
And it just continues to amaze me how many shots inside both of these two teams have missed. These are good shooting teams, especially in a situation like that. Davis had a clear lane. There was nobody around her, but she just put that ball up a little bit too hard, went too hard to the rim, and that's why she missed it. It's just, those are mistakes that you don't expect from these two teams, being how high up they are in the standings and certainly on paper what they look like.
Two free throws for Moses. Here is Griffith. Off the glass, it goes down, plus the foul. That's Dion Griffith with a chance for a three-point play.
And how about the transition basket there? We really did not see too much of that in the first half from the Jersey Blues, but finally able to get something going. Now it's Passaic that's having a little bit of difficulty getting back on defense.
Foul is on Moses. It's her second. Free throw misses. Catanzaro, and she's fouled. Quickly, a couple of fouls picked up by the Panthers as Catanzaro now to the line, and that is 3 personals on Kathy Davis. Catanzaro first attempt, doesn't get the roll. Catanzaro, the other freshman, with Poplawski, they are the only 2. Another offensive rebound. Catanzaro jumper. Rimming, no. Griffith collects it. She can't put it in. And Thomas has it for the Panthers.
My goodness, I tell you what, those are several opportunities at the rim that Brookdale had, and they just couldn't convert. That may come back to bite them later on in the fourth.
Thomas for Russo. 3 on the way. It's an air ball collected by Davis, and the putback. Kathy Davis, who averages a double-double for Passaic, 17 points, 13 boards. And the Panthers are back up by 1. Catanzaro along the baseline. Gets the bounce on the jump shot.
Catanzaro's probably thinking to herself, finally get something to go my way, because she's taken that jumper and every single time it's rimmed out.
Thomas weaving through traffic, and she'll go to the line. The fouls are starting to pile up on both sides. Free throw opportunities becoming plentiful. And Thomas is back there for Passaic. 71% shooter. First one's good. Deja Anderson, who's been in foul trouble, so not much of a factor lately, but in now to replace Catanzaro. Thomas, one of 4 Panthers who averages double-figure scoring. That's a deep team that Passaic has. And they are back on top. This is a seesaw battle as the lead changing numerous times here in the second half. Griffith able to find herself and then out of bounds. Brookdale will get another opportunity. Alonzo inbounding for Griffith. Alonzo's doubled. Swing it inside off the hand of Griffith. Bad pass.
Yeah, exactly. Just not a very good pass. Dion Griffith wasn't ready for it, and she threw it, Alonzo did, into double coverage, too. There were two bodies on Dion Griffith. Just not what you want to do when you're early on in the shot clock. These are just opportunities that Brookdale is shooting themselves in the foot with. They have opportunities to score, and they throw it away.
Davis way off. It's rebounded by Griffith. Alonzo, long pass is stolen by Moses. Moses is fouled. It's a blocking call. As going down was Dion Griffith looking to take the charge, but it goes in Passaic's favor.
Yeah, I know Brookdale's not going to be happy with that call, but Dion Griffith did move just a little bit. So anytime you move, you have to go straight up, and you cannot flinch at all. So it looked like a charge, but I think a good call by the officials on the floor.
And Moses gets the roll on the first one. Gets them both. 43-40. Anderson trying to provide a spark. Rich Brunson calling out. Brookdale takes their time. High screen Griffith. Anderson jumper. Too strong. Rebound Russo. Russo going behind the back. Russo's blocked by Griffith. And now Brookdale wants to run. Anderson leads the charge. Delonzo, a fake. A floater, short. And Russo another rebound. Russo down to the floor, and timeout taken by Passaic. Alertly, Teya Eaton takes one.
I don't know if Passaic had possession of that ball, Brian. I think Coach Brunson's trying to plead his case to the officials. I'm not sure if Passaic completely had possession of the ball. You have to have possession of the ball to call a timeout. I don't know if you could really say that either team had possession. It was kind of a loose ball at that point, but Passaic catches a break and gets that timeout.
We got a full timeout on the floor. You know, we talked different points in this game about Brookdale's offensive struggles, and it's not just this game. In fact, lately they've just had trouble scoring points. They've scored under 60 now in 5 of their last 6 games. So just as a team, haven't been clicking on all cylinders the way they did early on. Remember, they began with 13 straight wins, and really everything was clicking at that point. They're trying to find that form again.
And I don't really know exactly what it is. I mean, you bring up very good points. They just have not really been at the threshold that on paper you expect them to be at. And to be fair, they lost Haley Delonzo for 2 games. That was a big loss. Danielle Griffith was out for a couple of games as well. So those are 2 players that certainly add a lot and bring a lot to the floor. But even still, the other players on the team, players like Rachel Rouse, Anna Catanzaro, Dion Griffith, Jessica Poplawski, they haven't been able to step up and fill that void. So it's been frustrating at times for Coach Brunson. Even though they've been able to get those wins, they're just not playing to the level that we expect them to be.
So we're set to go outside the timeout. Panther basketball. And now we get a whistle. And Rich Brunson is looking for an explanation. I'm not sure why they blew the whistle.
Well, I think what they want to do is they want to put the shot clock at 26, not 28. Because technically, according to the officials, Passaic had possession of the ball, and therefore that would have taken a couple ticks off the shot clock.
We'll hit the 7-minute mark, 4th quarter. That's a turnover as the pass through the hands of Thomas.
And it's this 2-3 zone. We've seen Brookdale go back and forth, switching up their defense, but it seems like every time they go 2-3 zone, Passaic, for whatever reason, has difficulty and turns the ball over on offense.
Brookdale can tie on this possession with a 3. Poplawski will check in at the next whistle. Stagnant possession to start. Griffith. Pass knocked out of bounds. Brookdale will have it with 9 to shoot. Poplawski in now. And she replaces Dion Griffith. 9 on the timer. Alonzo in for Poplawski. Can't convert. It's rebounded by Moses. And miscommunication. Moses is frustrated with Russo as the communication continues between those two, and Anna Catanzaro is back in for the Jersey Blues, replacing Danielle Griffith.
This is just one of those games that when Brookdale goes back and looks at this tape, they're going to just want to burn it completely because they do not want to have to go through this and antagonize over this. It has just been a sloppy game for both teams.
Another turnover. Thomas is open for 3. Doesn't go, but Moses puts it back up. That misses, and Rouse comes away with it. Rouse looks up, sees Anderson. Anderson a dribble, a layup. It is good.
Crucial bucket that time for Brookdale.
43-42. Passaic holds on to a 1-point lead. Thomas top of the key. Rouse plays the passing lane and the steal. Rouse goes in and lays it up and in.
Full court press here by Brookdale. We'll see if this forces Passaic into a mistake.
Thomas in trouble, and it is out of bounds, staying with the Panthers.
Alonzo almost went into a full split there trying to grab that ball. Just touched her leg as it went out of play, but my goodness.
This game may have been sleepy to start, but it is no longer. All eyes are on this one.
And you see this nice anticipation there from Rachel Rouse on the last bucket for Brookdale. Really haven't seen too much of that in this game, but Rouse coming up big when it counts.
Two teams that are in the top 4 in the region standings. Final regular season game of the year for Brookdale. On a turnaround, Camacho missed it, and Anderson starts the other way. Anderson into the paint, throws it up. Anderson gets it back on an offensive rebound. Delonzo, extra pass, Rouse for 3. Poplawski, another rebound, and a jump ball, a quick whistle.
Wow.
Which is going to give the ball to Passaic, and if you're Brookdale, I think you have a right to be frustrated with that call.
I thought that actually Passaic probably should have had the ball either way because I thought Poplawski went up and down. I didn't think it was a jump ball, but Panthers get possession.
Rouse knocks it out of bounds. Inbounder is Ramos Hankel. Davis.
Anderson's got to be careful. She's got 4 fouls.
Moses knocks it down. It's a 3. Olivia Moses, who spends most of her time down near the basket, shows off the range that time and gives her team the advantage once more. Now Brookdale looks for the answer. Shot clock is down to 10. Anderson working. Anderson almost threw it away. There's 4 to shoot. Rouse for Delonzo. Delonzo the heave. It's not a good possession for Brookdale. Nothing going, and had to force it up with the timer ticking down. Inside 4 minutes to play. Ramos Hankel. Thomas backing in against Anderson.
Good defense here. Again, 2-3 zone.
Moses puts it up. No good. And Delonzo takes the rebound. have a timeout. Down to 3:31 remaining. Down the stretch we go in this one. This is the first game of our Brookdale TV doubleheader, and it's going down to the wire. We'll take a break with Brookdale down 46-44 against Passaic.
Brookdale student, and I'm with the Brookdale Dance Club. We're just out here having a lot of fun and like dancing to the music with everybody and all the other clubs. I think it's important for students to get involved, especially in like multiple clubs, is because they get to explore new things and hopefully find something that they're inspired about.
Second meeting between these two teams this season, and you could say one thing about it, they've both been close, but they've both been very different style games. As you mentioned earlier, the first meeting was a 95-92 Brookdale win. This game, both teams are in the 40s, and frankly, at one point in this game, we didn't think either would get there. But it's 46-44. Passaic leads Brookdale ball outside the timeout. Inside for Poplawski. Layup doesn't go. And Camacho tracks it down for Passaic. Thomas picked up by Anderson. We approach 3 minutes remaining. Alonzo draws the assignment on Thomas. Thomas using the screen. Pull-up jumper. Off the front rim, and the rebound Rouse. Now a switch defensively. With Ramos Hankel defending on Delonzo. Delonzo for Catanzaro, she's fouled.
And that was a nice job by Catanzaro, setting that pickup and waiting for that play really all afternoon long. She comes out, she sends the high ball screen, and then once she makes contact, she spins and she goes to the paint. Delonzo was able to find her, and now Catanzaro's at the foul line.
Second charge to Brianna Ramos Hankel. Catanzaro with 2 free throws can tie it. First one, good.
And these are crucial baskets from the line. Brookdale has struggled the last couple of games. They only shoot 62% as a team from the charity stripe, so these are big buckets from the foul line for Anna Catanzaro.
In and out, rebound Moses. Davis brings it ahead. Enter the post. Moses doesn't go. Poplawski ripping it away from Davis. Oh, Poplawski is really something.
Poplawski is not going to be intimidated downstairs. That was Kathy Davis squaring off against her. Look at the two of them go for the rebound. My goodness.
Now the press is on. Passaic tightly contesting. Moses in the face of Anderson. This is going to be an adventure getting this ball in. Anderson throws it away, and then Anderson takes it back. Rouse, Poplawski is open. Poplawski lays it in.
Well, that certainly wasn't the way Coach Brunson drew it up, I'm sure, but it works, and Brookdale's now got a 1-point lead.
2 minutes to go. Thomas traveled. Big turnover, Panthers. And Rich Brunson is going to bring his group together. 30-second stoppage. Expect press from Passaic because they've been going to it pretty much all game.
And it's worked effectively. I mean, we really have never seen Brookdale get into a rhythm. As you take a look at the play a moment ago with Poplawski and Davis downstairs fighting for the rebound. Brookdale's done a nice job in the second half, certainly, of kind of waking up on offense, but it's been a back and forth type of game, a lot of sloppy play, and again, now Davis has to inbound. We saw this didn't go so well the last time. See if Brookdale can convert.
In for Delonzo, able to save it. Anderson to the basket, and the layup. She got all the way, and there was nothing Passaic could do to stop her. It's a three-point Brookdale lead. Here is Camacho coming up short, and Anderson the rebound.
Now Brookdale can afford to take some time in his possession. In fact, that's what you want to do. You have a three-point lead as close as the game is. You don't want to give Passaic any extra opportunities.
Delonzo handling. Rouse, reverse, throws it up off the rim. Delonzo collects the rebound, and now Brookdale can go to work at the clock. We'll hit the 1 minute mark. Thomas defending Delonzo. Giving her no room to maneuver. Cross court for Rouse. Rouse for three. Poplawski back up and in.
This might be Poplawski's best game.
And a travel. Oh, Passaic is unraveling at the seams. A game that they controlled for much of the way, but the last couple of minutes, missed shots, turnovers, lack of execution in the most elementary parts of the game, and it's doomed them. They're now down by 5.
And I think Passaic picked up a technical foul there. I'm not sure who was it assessed to. I think it was on Kathy Davis, but Brookdale's going to get the ball, and they're also then going to be shooting 2 technical foul shots from the line. So wheels have definitely come off the wagon here for Passaic in these last couple of minutes. Let's watch what happens there as you see the scramble for the ball. We mentioned how Passaic had turned it over out of the inbounds play. But it just goes to show you how crucial that bucket a few plays ago was from Deja Anderson.
Well, 49 seconds remaining. Brookdale up 51-46 as they look for win number 23 on the year. They haven't lost at the Collins Arena, looking to go to a mark of 11-0. And as mentioned, the region semifinal and final will be played here, and that'll be on March the 2nd and 3rd. So as you mentioned, technical foul. I don't think we got the number. It was on Kathy Davis. So Delonzo is ready to shoot the tee.
Yeah, and that was Davis's 4th foul, so she'll remain on the floor. Obviously, Passaic with 49 seconds left, they have nothing to lose, but
free throw misses. Delonzo has shown some rust here in her first game in a couple of weeks. Had that injured ankle, missed the last 2 games, and Brookdale hasn't played now in 11 days. And unable to convert at the line.
And these are big misses from the foul line, Brian. 49 seconds to go. We still have a lot of time left in this game. Brookdale still has to inbound the basketball. I'm sure Passaic is probably going to try to go for a steal and then foul. They have no choice, but still a lot of time left in this game.
Ramos Hankel.
Surprised for not fouling earlier, as now finally somebody fouls.
And there it is on Thomas. I think Thomas frustrated that Ramos Hankel allowed that much time to run off. So team foul number 5. It will not be shooting.
Well, no, actually, if it's the 15th foul, they should be shooting.
It is. At first, it looked like they were lined up to inbound it, but now Delonzo will try to make good at the line. The 2-time Conference Player of the Week earlier this season. Had an outstanding all-around year, and that one is good. 1 out of 2. Rebound Davis. Brookdale up by 6.
Can't foul here if you're Brookdale. And
Davis is fouled. She made her way to the basket. For Brookdale, it will be number 4.
And I think if that's on Anderson, she's fouled out of the game.
So Anderson is out. Griffith, that's Danielle Griffith in to replace her. And for Kathy Davis, free throws. And now there seems to be a mix-up as the officials say she was not in the act of shooting. Head coach Teya Eaton felt she was. And now we're going to get a timeout.
I think it was pretty clear on the floor. I don't think it was when the foul was committed by Anderson. I don't think she was in the act of shooting, but Coach Eaton thinks otherwise.
30-second timeout. You see Passaic huddled up there. Overall, it's 17-3 this season. All 17 of their wins have been by double digits. That's how good they've been. They've only lost once on the road all year. And their losses in total were at Philadelphia. That's one of the top 4 teams. At home against Brookdale, one of the top 4 teams. And Nassau, which was a team that also beat Brookdale.
Very equal teams. We saw that the last time these two teams played. We talked about the 95-92 win for Brookdale earlier in the year. We're seeing it again down the stretch. Even though this is a terribly ugly game, you can definitely tell how evenly matched both of these two teams are.
Inbound for Camacho. Camacho tries a 3, and it's good! Jada Camacho has made this a 3-point game. Brookdale will have to continue to make free throws. Delonzo back there. Foul committed by Ramos Henkel.
And now once again, Delonzo at the foul line. We've seen her be a little bit shaky in this game. These are going to be some crucial foul shots that she's going to have to hit to give Brookdale a little bit of a cushion.
72% free throw shooter. She's made just 1 of her last 4. This one, no good.
Delonzo, 72% from the line this year, but that's not really indicative of how she's had her performance be from the line in this game.
Big one here to make it a 2-possession Brookdale lead. It's up. It's good. 53-49, 4-point Brookdale lead. Floated ahead, Camacho tracks it down. Back up to the corner for 3. Off the back rim, rebound. Harris Henkel has it, and then it's last touch by the Jersey Blues. Shot clock's now turned off.
I don't like that call at all, Brian.
Neither does Rich Brunson. The official claiming it was deflected.
I don't think anyone touched that. Certainly not anyone on Brookdale. I don't know.
Davis, the inbounder. Davis out to the perimeter. Thomas for 3. Way off, and it's out of bounds to the Jersey Blues. There's a whistle. And now we're ready to inbound it with Griffith. In for Delonzo, trapped and fouled. Teya Eaton did not feel there was enough contact there. She thought her team just trapped Delonzo trying to get a steal. But it's more free throws coming up for Delonzo.
Needless to say, neither side is very happy with the officiating, Brian.
I was just going to say, one of the stranger games on a lot of levels that we have seen. One thing Brookdale has avoided is their lowest point total of the season. That was in a loss at Sussex when they totaled 48. Didn't look like they were going to get there early. Delonzo, though, another miss. She gets some words of encouragement.
Whether or not Delonzo makes this bucket, what Brookdale cannot do at all is foul. You have to play good defense, but you can't send Passaic to the line.
Big make there, 54-49. Here come the Panthers and Davis to the corner. Thomas for 3, no good. Offensive rebound, Camacho. And she is fouled, and was it in the act of shooting?
It's 3 shots.
Well, there's only 1.2 seconds remaining. Still, though, a critical error by Delonzo as she picked the worst possible time to pick up her first personal foul. 3 attempts for Camacho. And shoots it at 68%. First one, no good.
Well, Brookdale certainly, they're not out of the woods just yet. I mean, I know they get a nice win over Passaic today, but they've got to do a better job of shooting the basketball. They are well below their average, Brian, and we talked about how maybe with the coming back of Haley Delonzo and Danielle Griffith from injuries, maybe that would stop things, but it didn't certainly turn things around in this game. So Brookdale certainly has a lot of things to go back and work on and practice, primarily just getting better looks and getting the ball inside the paint. But with all that being said, they definitely are a team that I think is the favorites in the Region 19 conference. And to further that point, Brookdale probably will see Passaic pretty shortly in the Region 19 tournament, so I don't think we've seen the last of these two teams playing each other.
Oh, I'll say that'll be interesting the next time these two teams square off. Once again, the final score today, Brookdale gets the win, 54-50 is the final score. It wasn't pretty, it was wild. It featured a post-game scrum. It had about everything you could see on the court at the Collins Arena this afternoon. But hey, we have more here on Brookdale TV. The men's game is coming up in about a half an hour from now as the Jersey Blues will take the floor against Passaic, and we'll see what they have for an encore for us. So Tim and I are coming back. That's it for our coverage of the first game. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll be back after the break here on Brookdale TV.